Hello everyone, Ty Kimbrough here, and today for you guys I have my intercultural speech. Let's begin. Through my interview with Ricardo, an international student from Italy, I got a deeper understanding of how cultural identity can shape somebody's personal values and their priorities, and how these can change when shifting into a different environment. I also learned how everyday routines are changed by somebody's cultural expectations and their social norms, and how resilience is needed when you are moving between culture to culture. With this in mind, let's first explore how cultural identity shapes personal values and priorities. This was a big takeaway from my interview with Ricardo. My first takeaway from my interview with Ricardo has cultural identity plays a crucial role in somebody's values and priorities, and how that identity can shift when moving into a new environment. With one of my first questions I asked Ricardo, are there any traditions that you've had to leave behind when coming into this new culture? His response to this question was, yes, there is many different traditions that he's had to keep behind when moving here. But some of the main ones are Carnaval, Gionanta, and Della Liberazione d'Italia. For context, one of those Della Liberazione d'Italia, that would be where Italy became their own country, and that holds a big place in somebody's heart. For example, that's like Americans losing Independence Day, which holds a big place in our hearts. So imagine losing that, and that's what he's feeling. These can make him feel disconnected from his culture, which is not a new idea. Intercultural scholar Young Yin Kim describes this as cultural shedding, a process where individuals gradually let go of their own culture to adapt to a new one. This part of our conversation showed how cultural identity plays a crucial role in somebody's values and priorities while entering a new culture. Cultural identity shapes personal values and priorities. It also plays a big role in shaping our everyday routines, and these cultural expectations and social norms can change that. Everyday routines are influenced by cultural expectations and social norms. Ricardo stated in our conversation, people here are more open, and there's a lot more fast food restaurants, and people eat out a lot more. This just goes to show how in America, our social norm is that, if you don't have any food at the house, you go and you eat out. But in Italy, there may not be a night where you don't have food in the house and you go eat out every night, because there's not as much fast food restaurants, and it's just not the norm to go eat out. You eat in at your house. In a different part of our conversation, I asked, is it hard to keep parts of your culture when moving between these cultures? And his response to this was yes, because we do not celebrate his holidays and his traditions here, so it's hard to keep them. This shows that it's not just everyday routines that are changed in this while moving between cultures. It's yearly traditions and routines that will be changed when moving from culture to culture. Both changes show the concept of acculturation, which Barry John W. from the International Journal of Intercultural Relations defines as the process through which individuals adapt to a new culture, maintaining aspects of their original identity. Ricardo altered his eating habits in celebrations of new holidays, demonstrating this part of our conversation further shows how everyday routines are influenced by cultural expectations and social norms. These routines show adjustments, showing how living between cultures requires personal change, and it offers a big deal of resilience. Living between cultures requires change and offers resilience. Firstly, I asked Ricardo, have you ever felt stuck between the two different cultures? And his response to that was, sometimes I have, because you do not celebrate my holidays, and I have to learn a new American ones. This highlights how moving to a new culture can create a sense of discomfort and feeling like you shouldn't just be here. This experience is very difficult to deal with. These holidays can hold a big place in somebody's heart. And he needs resilience to be able to go through that, going through not being able to celebrate his holidays here. These changes don't just happen with traditions or holidays. These also happen with communicating in daily life. In our conversation, I asked Ricardo, is it hard to communicate with people? And his response to that was, communicating with people in Italy is very indirect, while people here are very direct. And this reveals how everyday social interactions require constant adjustment while changing cultures. According to psychologist Colin Ward, successful acculturation involves not only psychological well-being, but also the development of culturally appropriate skills, including communication styles, which contributes to resilience. These changes are not always easy and may cause misunderstandings or feelings of frustration. Yet in these times, these emotions show emotional resilience and cultural competence with all of the changes. In conclusion, Ricardo's experience as an international student shows how cultural identity shapes personal values and daily routines, and how these can shift in a new environment. Living between cultures requires adaptation and resilience, which strengthens someone's journey. His journey highlights how our identity can change and the important role of culture in shaping who we are. Thank you for listening to my speech. Goodbye.